Today, we're going to talk about a good old branding brainstorm and what to do when your brand feels stagnant or stale or even non-existent. That's coming up. I'm Erin Nicole Bick.
And I'm Brian Garcia. Welcome to Be Adventure Partners, where we help couples just like you escape the box that society unjustly tries to keep us in, turn your ideas into really cool business online, and create a life that you're actually excited about. Like, what would that do for you? Would that feel cool? Maybe.
Probably.
I think it probably would. If you haven't yet, click subscribe and hit that bell so that you're notified every single time we release a brand new video right here.
So there's a moment in every business where things feel kind of stagnant and stale. You know, you are really wanting people to love your stuff, to engage with you on social media, to hit that like button, to share your content with their friends, but it's just not happening. So what do you do when you're in this kind of stagnant, stale phase? What we keep bumping into with our students in the exclusive tribe and even people that are messaging us often are they're really confused about branding. They're not really too sure how to engage with their audience or to connect with them and give them value. A lot of people that come to us don't have a brand yet, and they're simply just trying to sell a product or a service, which can be a huge misconception in the online space. That's something that kind of worked originally when people started trying to sell products or services on social media. But what we're finding is that social media is a social platform. People aren't coming there to buy your products or services. So the key or the secret, wouldn't you say, is branding?
Branding's definitely the one of the big keys there. And one thing that I've seen also is that a lot of people lead with the product. They lead with the service, and there's not really much value there. It's just like, hey, buy this. I mean, gone are the days of, when people came to your door to sell you things. Like, they might still do that, but come to find out there's a more effective way of doing that in the online space, because there's only so many doors that you can walk to. There's only so many doors that you can knock on, and then you get tired. Your legs can only hold up so much. You only have so much gas in the tank. So how do you bridge that gap, get in front of more people in less time with a little bit different style of work? I'm not going to say less work, because there's a little bit of work that you put into it, and then you can start to automate things with your brand. But I think the key to it is not leading with the product or service and leading with value. Like, how are you going to be making other people's lives better in their lives? Because whenever it comes down to it, they are number one. They are the ones that you're appealing to. This is where you're building the know, like, trust factor with your brand. So if you've got a brand online and you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm not getting the traction that I want, there are a few things that we're actually going to be talking about here in today's video that if you do these little bitty tweaks, you're going to have some really cool results that could potentially change the course of your ship sailing, either sinking to the bottom of Davy Jones's locker or sailing the high seas with your, all your sails up and just catching that good tidal wind and everything, right?
Yeah. So what would you say makes an attractive brand that people cling on to or that they become diehard fans of?
A lot of people, in my opinion, when they start to create a brand online, they're focused on, what are my colors? What does my logo look like? What is my little tagline? But it's not necessarily that you have to have a good design aspect to it. It's more about the authenticity that you bring forth from your brand as a company of how you're going to make other people's lives better. right?
So a little bit of relatability.
Definitely
Yeah.
relatability, being able to, meet people where they're at
Mhm.
in their journey. So think of your brand as kind of like a trailblazer, kind of like a
Mhm.
guide, maybe like the Obi-Wan Kenobi, the Yoda, the person who's going to take someone through and give them the tools
Mhm.
that they need in order to make their life better in some sort of way.
Yeah.
Now, some of these are going to be just like completely life changing, personal development wise, changing a mental state or a physical state
Mhm.
with workouts, or even connecting the dots for how to put together a
Mhm.
business online and what tools you need to put together in what order, and specifically what do they do.
Mhm.
Like there's all sorts of different things that you can empower people
Mhm.
with your
Yep.
brand on a very targeted niche level that is going to make you stand out. Even if you don't have the best design aspect, even if you don't
Yeah.
have the best wording, it's all about the authenticity that you bring
Mm.
as a human to other humans. How do you
Mhm.
relate to them, right?
Yeah. Something that we kind of learned the hard way was brand messaging. At first, our message was kind of cloudy for a long time because we were traveling. People thought we were a travel company.
Like
So,
travel agents or
yeah,
something.
travel
Yeah.
agents, or that we were offering like deals on flights or something, which was not true at all. And our tagline specifically was a little bit cloudy. It was love deeper, travel broader, live an extraordinary life. So,
Not completely clear.
not completely clear. And a lot of people have trouble with that, is getting that brand message down, nailing that, statement down of what
Mhm.
it is that your brand represents. So, something to really get clear on and to think about when trying to figure out, well, what's the brand message here? And, what are we going to help people
Mhm.
with? Think about what it is that you have to offer first. If you know that you have a specific product or service and you start to wrap your head around the idea of what it is that you're going to offer people, think of your offer in stages. You have the first level stage. This is your beginners. Then there's kind of the mid range people who are maybe almost like the little way along the journey, but they still need your help. And
Mhm.
then there's the advanced people where you need to offer them something more than you offer the beginners. Now, when considering these different stages of your customer's journey, where they're at, you also need to consider the language that you're speaking to them. So at every stage, there's a different language. At the early beginner stage, you can't expect that your customer or client understands your language, or even just a fan. At this point, they're still a fan. When they bump into your brand, they may not even be a fan yet. And then soon they become a fan because of your brand messaging. So being relatable, being easy to understand, that all comes from doing market research and really understanding, what people need in the early stages of, bumping into what it is that you offer. And then in the second and third stage, where we're getting to somebody who's like kind of mid range, they have an understanding of what you're offering. That's a totally different language than the first stage and the more advanced stage. So, people who are more advanced with your product, maybe they've already been using it for a while, they're understanding the language, the like inside lingo, right?
Yeah. So think about every single stage as a relatability factor, so to
Mhm.
speak. So I'm going to give a very specific example because this is going to be, I think this is going to really drive the nail into the coffin on how all of this kind of fits together. So let's say that you're selling or offering some sort of hair product that rejuvenates the hair. Maybe someone has hair loss and you're on your page and you're wondering why your business isn't growing. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm showing people the transformation. I'm doing exactly what you and Aaron are saying. What is it that I'm doing wrong? So in
Mm.
this example, let's say you're showing before and after of, hey, before they used my hair loss product and after they used the hair loss product, you could get results like this too. Maybe it's not necessarily growing hair that people are
Mm.
wanting.
Mm.
Maybe it's they want to feel loved. They want to feel attractive. So how could you spin the message of what this is going to do for them? Yeah, the product's going to help them grow the hair, supposedly. And if it does, what is that going to do for them? Why are they wanting to do that? Because, I know some dudes out there who have hair loss and they're like, you know what? I'm just going to slick shave this whole thing or buzz it super short. And the dudes are super handsome. So it's like, hey, maybe no hair is a better option. But for someone who does want hair, that could be like a way of having the relatability. Of what this product would do for them. And I know that there's a ton of examples that we could give, but that was just like one little short one.
Yeah. And to dive a little deeper into that specific example, like maybe you as the person selling the hair loss shampoo that will give them beautiful, shiny hair, maybe you have a story, maybe it's your story. Maybe it's somebody else's story who you've witnessed having amazing results with this product. Maybe you could share that story. Maybe you could educate people why they're losing hair. As a former hairstylist, I know a lot about why people lose hair. Bad diet, not drinking enough water, some genetics. Like there's so many things that
physically pulling it out.
Or stress, environment. There's a lot of things, or even just like, color or product damage. So there's a lot of things that could drive hair loss. So being able to speak to that audience, educate them, like Brian said, speak to their needs. This is absolute for every single brand. If you can start to storytell, whether it's sharing your story, sharing other stories, or teach people something, educate them on why they might have a problem with this, you start to become an expert. Those people will start coming to you as their go-to person. And we talk about this a lot, but that's the goal with any business, any brand, is to become the go-to person so that when people show up and they see your content, they're like, that's for me. That person is speaking my language. How do they understand me so well? It's like they're in my head. That's what you want them to feel like, that you are in their head because you understand them where they are at each phase, each step of the way.
And this works for any sort of niche. I mean, think about weight loss. I mean, you can have before and after pictures of weight loss, like just these crazy transformations. But if you get down more to a human level of what is making them want to do this, is it so that the dude can win the girl? Is it so the girl can win the dude? Like there's all sorts of different love aspects that are attached to this. Another niche that you might think about is maybe entrepreneurship. Maybe you have the idea that you want to travel the world, or you want to spend more time with the one you love. Now you see a lot of people out there saying, oh, start a business online, get leads, make sales and all this stuff. But if you think about it, what is that going towards? What are you driven towards? Is it really, are you really looking for leads? Are you really looking for sales? Or are you looking for the freedom that a simple online business could do for you? That's what we do here in the tribe. We give you the tools so that you can actually create a business online, so you can travel the world, so you can have options. If you put in the work to make it happen, the tools and resources here show you exactly how to do that. So that all is leading us to the brand brainstorm. Like, how do you actually conduct one of these brand brainstorms? Where would someone who's brand new, or someone who's even struggling with a business that's just floundering, it's just not doing what they promised that it should be doing, what you think it should be doing, what do we even do?
Okay.
Or what should someone do?
What do we do? Okay, we kind of know. So something that we really want to share, and we've already touched on this, is the story. So if you start to think about your customer story, and likely, when we start a business, a lot of times the best businesses are businesses that have already had some kind of relationship with a product or service. So let's talk about this weight loss example as an example. Cool. So say that you're offering a weight loss product or some kind of fitness regime that you created because this regime worked for you. This is what helped you lose 180 pounds, and you want to share this with the world. thinking about your story, where were you at the beginning of the journey with this product or service? That is exactly where you
Mhm.
start because that's like the key search terms that you would be using on Google.
Mhm.
How do I lose this weight? How do I get this baby belly off? How do I get these college pounds off?
Yeah.
Those kinds of questions.
I'm a grown up, but I have baby fat.
Yeah.
What? WTF?
Yeah. How do I tone these abs? How do I get this saggy booty to be firm? Like there's so many, different search terms that you could start plugging in just by simply thinking, what's the beginning like? What does it feel like to be in this position
Yeah.
where you don't feel loved because you're carrying excess weight or you don't accept love because you don't love yourself. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of questions that can come out of that first journey. And that's where we really start Googling things. That's where we really start, you might not even need to Google it because you know that pain so well, but we do recommend that you do a little bit of research and just see like, what's the language? How are people talking about this problem online? That's the number one place to start and the number one place to start brainstorming because that's going to help you create products further. That's going to help you with your ad copy, which
Mhm.
is really just like the words that you see in a post or
Mhm.
the words that you see in a blog. You want to be able to understand where they're at so you can speak their language. Or, if the story is your story, write as if you were
Mhm.
like soothing yourself through that problem,
Mhm.
or you were writing towards that past you who needed to have that fulfillment or that need,
Mhm.
taken care of. So, what makes your brand unique?
This is a good one. A lot of people think that they need to have like the perfect name, the perfect color scheme, like we were talking
Mm-hmm.
earlier. Yeah, that does play a little bit of the part. Like there's all these different things you can Google. Oh, what do the colors actually mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like purple is royal and reds get people amped up. And then
Yeah.
there's the calming, soothing blues and
Ooh,
greens and the
little yellow.
trustful yellows. Like there's all these different, associations when
Yeah.
it comes to color. And then also with the name, like is it
Mm.
is it showing people what your brand is about, or is it something that's a completely abstract word that maybe you made up that
Mm-hmm.
is going to be your little thing
Yeah.
that people can start to understand and they follow the journey and they're on the inside when they know
Mm-hmm.
what the name actually means? Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of really cool companies out there with really interesting names
Yeah.
and we have no idea what they mean. And then
Yeah.
we ask them, hey, what's your name mean? And they dive into, oh, well, it means XYZ, it's derived from Sweden or whatever,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think what's going to nail this one though
Mm.
is a brand's authenticity and their
Mm.
personality is one of
Mm.
the biggest differentiating factors when
Mm.
it comes to establishing what it is that your brand is meant to accomplish in other people's lives. It's
Mhm.
it's how you are making them feel in themselves.
Mhm.
What sort of impact is your brand making on a larger group of people? And when I
Mm.
say larger, I'm not talking about like millions and millions of people. You only really need 1,000 true fans to earn like a six-figure income, and it really just depends on how much they're paying in to your products and services
Mhm.
each year. But they're going to follow your personality because they resonate with who you are as a person.
Mhm.
They resonate with the message of what the impact is that you are taking customers through on their
Mhm.
journey.
Yeah.
And most importantly, the authenticity that
Mm.
you have in your brand and what it is that's doing in
Mhm.
people's lives. It really does come down to how authentic you are
Yeah.
for helping in certain causes. Maybe it's a cause that you've piggybacked on, or maybe it's a cause that you're creating along the way that other
Mhm.
people have this desire within themselves to follow in the journey and to contribute to that
Mm.
by sharing posts on Facebook and social media or sharing YouTube videos to their friends and saying, hey, check this out. This is a
Mhm.
really cool thing that these people are doing.
Yeah.
I'm invested in them. I'm part of their Patreon, or I subscribe to the tribe and I'm a member there and I'm growing my
Yeah.
business. Like there's a lot of different ways that that you can show your authenticity.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, a lot of people spend a lot of time banging their head against the wall trying to figure out their name and then the color scheme. I think that with that, it's like keep it catchy, keep it clean. You know, if there's a lot of stuff going on, it can really take away from your messaging and your brand's personality, right?
Yeah, and what's really cool is in Get Your Brand On, which is one of our e-courses, we walk you through step by step how to choose a name. There's a really cool exercise in there. I just kind of wanted to throw that out because
it's
I know
really
that
fun.
we had a lot of fun with that, and the name that we ended up picking in there was hilarious.
Yeah, and totally a cool brand name. So you can really surprise yourself with what ends up sticking, you know, based on your personality. I think that your personality really shines through the brand name, shines through your tagline and all that jazz. But we can help you dial that in for sure. And if you have questions or comments, please leave them below because we'd love to talk with you about that and brainstorm with you. The personality and authenticity is the thing that really drives a good brand. You know, that's what makes you stand out from the crowd and makes your brand really memorable because people will start to associate that brand message with you and they'll start to really cling on to whatever it is that you're sharing that's different from everybody else in your niche market. So we hope that that really helped you out. Like I mentioned before, please go ahead and comment on this video. If you think that this could help one of your friends, go ahead, share it. And if you haven't yet, click subscribe and hit that bell so you can be updated every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday when we come out with new piping hot, fresh content right here on YouTube. And here's another video right over here that will help you along your journey.
Until next time, friends.
Adventure on.
Adventure on.